Hello, this is Mr. Evilcheese.
And I'm Shabakat.
This is a video of a custom 1/6 scale figure that I made. It's based on the Telltale Walking Dead final season video game. And it is of Clementine. And this took a really long time to make. I started working on it right after the last episode of the 4th season came out and I finished it. I've been working on it ever since, just a little bit at a time. And I almost had to redo everything.
And made almost everything.
Yeah. And then towards the end, after she was finished, I went crazy making a ridiculous amount of accessories. So we'll be going over them.
That was the fun part, though.
Yeah, I kept saying that. It's like working on the clothes and the hair and just the body was just a real pain in the ass. Like it's hard to do. That's what took so long. So once I got to the end, it's like I started having fun making the accessories, and I thought of more that I can make, and I just kept making them. So she comes with a ton of stuff. They're not all shown right here yet, obviously, but we'll bring them out. She does have a few accessories right now, which is obviously her hat, and her hat is removable. I had to custom make that. And if you played the final season, her hat is super dirty, and I tried to make it look like that.
It's all jacked up. She's losing her D.
Well, one thing I want to mention is, like a lot of people when they cosplay her, they'll like do the they'll draw the black lines, like the cell shaded black lines around them, and that style looks really badass for cosplay because it really makes them look like Clem. And I would imagine some people might do that with their custom if they made one, but I just didn't. I really didn't want to do that. Like, it crossed my mind, but I just wouldn't want that. If I had a completely second one, if I could just copy this over, then I would do that, but I prefer her without the black lines. I just want the more realistic look so it can go with all the other 6 scales.
Yeah, I have Borderlands figures, and some of them are done with the art style, and other ones are more realistic looking, and I like both versions. So.
Yeah. I think for Borderlands I would want that, but... Or at least for like a smaller figure I might want that, but for this I didn't want that. I just wanted a realistic look for her. But, yeah, like I said, the hat is one accessory. She never takes her jacket off in the 4th season, so you can't really do that with this. I mean, you can take it off, but it's not all finished underneath. So, not really going to be taking the jacket off. Her knife is an accessory, obviously. One thing that I did, I guess, took a liberty with is I gave her a sheath. Because the final season is one of those video games where the character doesn't really put their weapons or objects anywhere. They just kind of reach behind them and stick them in their back or something. It looks like
their butt.
Yeah, they reach around to their butt areas where it actually looks like. When she pulls out her knife, she pulls it from somewhere back there. But there's no sheath. Like, she even picks up a deer skull and just sticks it in her back and just disappears back there. A deer skull with big antlers, so... It's just, there's lots of video games like that. Some have sheaths and you actually do see everything when they store it, but this is one of the games where you don't see it. But I thought you should have a sheath. She could probably also use a holster, but I didn't really care to do that because she doesn't use a gun that much in the game. That's all the accessories
that are on her.
That are on her right now, yeah. I think I'm going to do a separate video for how I made it because it's just... There's just too much to go over in this video, and then it'd be too much to go over all the things I did to make it. So that's going to be a separate video. Like I said, the hat I made custom. I had to buy a hat and then paint it blue, and then paint the white on, and on the dirt, and make that little D and stick it on there. And then chop it up a little bit, put holes in it. Try to get that blood splatter on her head, because I think that might be Lee's blood, but I'm not sure. I just always thought of it as Lee's blood, but it might not be. The jacket, I bought the jacket, but I had to customize it to fit this body. And then I made the little patches. This I had to draw on, that would just be too hard to make a patch. And it's very faded in the game, so I tried to make it look like that. And it kind of looks like that. I wish I could have got on there a little more precise looking.
I think it looks good.
It's close. And there's a little SSMC. This is like a biker jacket. What is it? A Silver Stallion Motorcycle Club. The pants, these come from a Lara Croft, and I had to make these. I had to do a lot to these actually. Like these lines, I had to cut off the pockets and stick them where they go and sew them to fix the body. One thing is, this is actually the second body that I used. I had to cut these real small, like modify and make them real small. Then I found out that body wasn't going to work for various reasons. And then I got this body, and then these were now too tight, so I had to modify them again because I couldn't get the pants again. And little things like that. You see all those seams in the butt, which I kind of wish weren't there, but...
Just don't look at her butt.
Yeah. And get down to her boots. I had to modify these two. I had to give them the reddish shoelaces. They're actually kind of like orangish red, but they seem to want to be red. They're like, we're being red. I kept trying to paint them orange and they didn't want to be orange. So they're red.
Stubborn.
I had to add a strap around here and weathered them.
The strap looks really good. It looks like it came on there.
Yeah. On the shirt, I had to make that. I made that completely for the hoodie. Yeah, I made it out of a handkerchief.
I was pretty impressed by that.
That's one of the other things I remade, because I used actual the material you use for a hoodie, but it was just too thick, so I had to use this. And I made her undershirt, which that's one of the things that's really not finished under there. It's really just like a sliver that's wrapped around her neck. It
gets too bulky when you actually put all the layers on.
Yeah, her clothes, even with the hoodie, the shirt, and the jacket on, fit on her real tight in the game, so I couldn't put all that on there. It would be just too big.
Isn't that actually the second jacket?
Yeah, because the same thing with the pants. I had to switch to a new body, and then I already modified the jacket to fit the smaller one, and now it wouldn't fit. And that was too hard to just...
Yeah, that would have been way too much work to try to fix that.
Yeah, so I was able to get a new one, so I did. And her clothes are so dirty in the game, which is why I made her clothes very dirty. And her skin. Her skin's really dirty too. Everything's dirty. One of the main reasons I actually considered doing it is because I found a head that I thought would work. And I think this one works pretty well. The only thing is I do wish it was a little bigger, because it's a little on the small side, and I just think her head should be a tiny bit bigger on her body. But I think it's alright. And I think it works for looking like her.
Mm-hmm. It definitely looks like her.
I had to paint it, obviously. It was like the head was an Asian head, but it kind of works for her, because even though she's black, she kind of looks Asian in the games.
Initially I thought she was.
Yeah, me too. But if you look at her parents, they're both black. Her mom is light-skinned, but they're both black. And it says, when you look up description of her, she is black. But I did read that one of the designers of her was basing her design on his daughter, who is Asian, and that's kind of why she looks a little Asian.
I think it's mostly her eyes.
Yeah. I had to paint the eyes, too, because they were blue, but they're supposed to be kind of like brown or hazel or whatever. And I had to paint her hands and wrists, because the skin color wasn't right.
And painting her neck and chest is a whole other thing.
I'll go over that in the making of. But that was because I was using a Fleissen body first, and one of the main reasons I couldn't use that is because when you paint it, it just comes off. I ended up buying a different body, but it was still flexible there, and the paint still chipped off. So, yeah.
We'll get into that in the other video, but let's just say it was borderline torture, and I felt bad for you.
Yeah. It's like I was so close to being done with her, and that stupid little bit of skin was causing a problem. The hair, I actually haired her, what do you call that? Rooted the hair myself, like that little Tibetan lamb fur, and put that on there. It's kind of coming out though, because it's been a while since I put it in the bun, or maybe you did. I can't remember who put it in the bun.
I think I did it for you, but I could fix it.
Yeah, some's kind of coming out of it. But yeah, that's basically the main part of the figure. I guess we can start looking at some accessories now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's the first thing, which is actually, I think, the very last thing that I made, was her base. I just thought of this like last minute anyway, because I was just going to give her a plain base, and I just thought I'd make one, and that's a picture from the intros for season 4 of a zombie with the little yellow flowers growing out of it. But I also printed out 2, so it could also be a wood floor, like in her room. So, because I really couldn't decide which one I liked better.
I kind of like the wood floor. That looks cool. I mean, I like both of them, but...
Now this thing, I am actually kind of proud of. Because I made this from scratch. I cut up material and completely made this book bag. The only thing that I didn't make is the little buckles I stole from another thing with straps. But I made the straps and everything else.
You did a really good job.
Works. And this actually hides other accessories, which we'll go over later. But yeah, there's more accessories inside of there.
Accessories?
Accessories. Similar to that, I made the big duffel bag. It's season 4, episode 1 that they get the duffel bag full of supplies from the what was it, gas station or something?
Something like that.
But yeah, it's really weathered and beat up. And this is also full of accessories, like really full. It's stuffed,
Like to bursting.
of supplies. But we'll go over that in a little bit. Now, she uses a bow and arrow in the game a lot, and I made as close as I can get to the compound bow that they had in there. Painted it, like I painted these red and this gray and added a wrap. Made it all beat up looking. It's not exactly the same shape, but it's pretty close.
Well, there was two you were trying to decide between that were both really close but had different things that were right and were wrong. But I like this choice. I think this one looks really good.
And I gave her 5 arrows actually. And she doesn't have a quiver in the game, but I decided to make one just because that's another thing that she should probably have, but just because of the way the game is, she doesn't have a quiver. She just pulls arrows out of nowhere and keeps firing. She has infinite arrows. But I made this one. This one was one of the ones that was kind of fun to make, and it was pretty easy. But
It looks good.
and you can strap this over her. I thought about weathering it because the game, like everything in the game, is so dirty.
Yeah, it's filthy.
But I just liked how nice this one looked. I really didn't want to weather it. I'm just pretending that she
just got it.
Yeah,
She found it at a sporting goods store.
Yeah. That's what I actually thought about her hat. If she ever needed a new hat, there's probably a hat store or sporting store that has that hat in it in that world.
But her hat is special.
Yeah. Here's the infamous axe from the... What?
It makes me sad just looking at it.
Yeah. From episode 4. Like, we're trying not to give spoilers and stuff away, but this does factor into the end of the game a lot. But I ordered this axe online just because I thought it looked cool. But I ended up getting it and really like this axe because this part is metal and this part is actual wood. Mm-hmm. I did have to modify it because it was like a rectangular shaped handle. Like around it was rectangular.
You whittled it.
Yeah. Then added on all the wraps. They like to wrap everything on this game. Well, they do that in lots of apocalypse games. Wrap all their weapons and stuff. But I think I'm really happy with how it turned out. Here's the alternate hands. I did have some issues with these too, which I'll explain in the making of video because yeah, I had to sculpt on the ends of the wrist. But there she's got multiple hands. And here's another infamous item from the game. And this is the flashlight, which is used to kill somebody in episode 1 of season 4. It is a big metal flashlight. I actually bought this thinking, because I hadn't looked it up, I just knew it was a plain looking flashlight and ordered this and thought this is too big. And then I went back and looked at the game and I'm like, this is actually pretty much exact how it's supposed to look. Mm-hmm. I mean, I had to paint it and weather it and put blood on it and stuff, but it turned out pretty good.
Yeah, it looks good. Wasn't it like red before? Like plain red?
I think so, yeah. It's been so long.
It looks pretty good.
I made this shotgun. This shotgun's not actually in the final season. This is from season 3. But I just really like the shotgun that she has in that one. So I ended up making it. I actually have at least one item from every season. And this is one of the ones that would be from season 3. But it also had wrap on it. So here's a plain old gun. The gun she uses in the game is pretty plain looking like this. AJ has a little revolver, but I don't think Clementine really uses it. And I want to make an AJ at some point.
That's going to be hard.
Yeah, finding a head in the body, it'll be right, it'll be hard. If I can make him, then I would get a revolver. Here is the crowbar. She uses a crowbar in the beginning game. And this isn't exactly how it looks, but it's as close as I can find. But it's pretty plain crowbar, and so is the one she uses. It's just that the shape is slightly different. This I only made... Well, I mean, I kind of wanted to make it, but I just had a coffee mug that one of her friends gave us a whole bunch of 6-scale accessories. It was, well, actually Barbie accessories. She said we could use them in our videos back when we did goofy videos, and this is a 6-scale coffee mug, and she has one in the game, so I just made it. Looks like it needs washed. There's actually a coffee stain in there. Now here's one of the biggest accessories, but one of the ones I wanted to make from the beginning.
And my favorite.
And that's Rosie.
I love Rosie.
Now one thing, I wouldn't make this if they didn't happen to have this dog available. But they did. I looked up pit bulls, and they had this big muscular one, because Rosie's a very big muscular pit bull in the game. And this almost looks just like her, the shape at least. I had to modify some things. I had to cut her tail down. I had to paint her and give her a chain.
And had to make her a her.
Oh yeah.
It had big old junk.
Yeah. I think it turned out pretty good. She's like very slight brindle color, which I tried to get on there.
I think you did a great job.
Thanks. But yeah, I'm happy with how she turned out. There are some random things that I just imagine might be in her book bag or something. I had some leftover Sculpty when I was making something else, so I just made it a little lighter. Just to see if I could. Because I figured that'd be something you might want to have. And I also bought a pack of pencils and things. Because it seems like you might want to write something down. And AJ's always drawing and stuff.
Those are his colored pencils.
And also bought a pen. And I made a little pen with some more extra Sculpey I had laying around. This is possibly my favorite accessory. It's Disco Broccoli. I had to sculpt him completely, make his little glasses and everything. And
you made him?
Yeah.
I thought you just found him somewhere. That's awesome.
No. I had to make him out of Sculpty, and it was tough. I had to do his hands a few times. I actually got him. But Disco Broccoli's a funny part of the game. And I just really had to make him. He's the only one of those vegetable people that I made. If I make an AJ somehow, I'll probably make the others, but...
He's the most important.
Yeah, he is. I also made a bunch of the collectibles you can find in the game, which that's the first game in the series where you collect collectibles. And the deer skull is one of them.
You didn't make that?
No, I didn't make it. Did I say that?
Yeah. You said you made a bunch of them.
Well, I did make a bunch of them.
But you bought that one.
Yes, this one I bought from a guy on eBay who makes these skulls, 6-scale skulls, and they're so good. This is actually the first one that I bought, and I was going to try to make the antlers how they're supposed to be. And then, before I finished the Clementine figure, he put this one up, and it's like, that's exactly how it looks in the game, pretty much. So I bought this one, and just recently got it. And it looks so good. There's lots of games where you collect collectibles, but I really liked doing it in that game because they seem like more of a bigger deal. Because she puts them in a room, and you can walk up to them and talk about them. Either she'll talk about them, or AJ will ask about them or something. So it's just kind of neat. Now this skull is the cat skull, which based on the size of it, I was guessing is like a bobcat or something because it seems to be bigger than a house cat. And that guy didn't make a cat skull. He makes a lion, but that's way too big. So I just tried to make this one, and got it as close as I could. It looks okay. Not as good as his.
No, it's still good. I can tell what it's supposed to be.
I might just give this to her because she starts collecting skulls in the game, which is kind of weird.
I love that she does that. It made me real happy, and I wish there were more skulls, so I think it's fine to give her some extras.
Yeah. There's a part where AJ's like, wonder why Clem likes skulls so much.
She's a human skull.
I seen some meme where they said something like Clementine in a couple years, and it's just like a room full of like 1,000 skulls.
Like our house.
Yes. Another one of the skulls they collect towards the end is this little piece of a human skull. And this is the guy who made the deer head. He just happened to make one that's like a front like this, because that's exactly how it is in the game. I did have to cut this side off though. But that's pretty much how it was. Mm-hmm. And here's another collectible. This is one that I completely made. It is the fake flowers that she finds. And she puts them in this broken vase with this weird pattern, which I thought was birds at first. Then I had to fix it because they're actually like some kind of flower or something. But that's basically how they look. Now here is the real flowers. Now these are fake real flowers, obviously, but this one lost a petal, damn it! But she finds real flowers and sticks them in this vase that looks like this, and I tried to paint the pattern as close as I can get it. But yeah, this was kind of a pain in the ass. Both of them were a pain in the ass to get them all of them. Because I had to put them little petals on there and everything.
Well, initially you were hoping that you could just find little tiny flowers that were the right kind, and that didn't happen.
See, what's weird about making all these collectibles is if this was an official figure, I wouldn't care if it came with most of this stuff, but I just wanted to make it. I just like making it, and I think it's cool to have all these collectibles that are in the game. And there's a part where she carries a candle, or at least a couple parts. This is usually sitting in their room. She carries it to walk around. But I made this completely too.
Does it light up?
No. I try to make it all shiny on the top to make it look like it's melted wax. But I think it turned out alright.
Yeah, I like it. Looks good.
Another collectible is a mushroom. And I bought the pot, but sculpted the mushroom. And I think it's alright. Looks like a mushroom.
It's a mushroom, that's for sure.
It's a pretty easy one to make, but it's still kind of fun making it. And another plant she finds is a Venus flytrap. This one I had to make. I cut the leaves off of another fake plant, but I had to make these completely, which was not easy. But
I can imagine those little spiky things are probably a pain in the ass.
yeah. And here's another skull I bought from that guy. It's a wolf skull. And I think that's one that's believable that she could find. Mm-hmm. There are some that he has that aren't as believable, like a hippopotamus and a rhino and an alien xenomorph. But
that would be funny though.
Yeah.
You picture Clem with a big old xenomorph skull on her freaking wall.
There's a really big demon skull too he makes. But
oh, I want that one. It's cool looking.
And here's another collectible that was pretty easy to make. It's the Erickson Academy banner. And I just made it out of iron-on fabric paper that you can print out. And ironed it onto some fabric. And it feels like a banner. That's one that I wouldn't care about either. It's just so easy to make that I did. And here's the Etch-a-Sketch that she uses. In the game it's called, what the hell is it called? Line Doodle or something like that. But this is a world's smallest, that's like a brand of toys, world's smallest Etch-a-Sketch. But I just painted it yellow and red, like how it was in a game, and dirtied it up.
And you can actually use it?
Yep, it actually works. So you can draw a picture of whatever she drew if you're good enough. Here's the bomb they use in the game. This is actually a lot harder to make than I thought it would be.
Huh, I didn't know you made that.
I had to completely sculpt this, which looks like a gallon of milk, but also the size of it makes me think it could be bleach. But it's just what they put the chemicals in to cause
I
make
think
the
it's
bomb.
a bottle of some kind of cleaner.
Yeah. And they had "Fuck You Raiders" painted on the side and the little skull. Then they had this bag of Jib Jabs peanut snacks. So trying to make it look exactly like the one in the game. And they had it like wrapped around here with some, it was either tape or cloth. It looked like cloth. But I'm assuming this is fertilizer that they get for the bomb. Probably stuck it in this bag. Mm-hmm. But I think it turned out pretty decently.
Yeah.
Here's one that I wasn't sure if I could pull off. But this is another collectible, and that's James's mask. And it doesn't look exactly like it, because I had little issues with the nose and stuff like that, but
I think it turned out pretty good.
yeah, it looks like a person's face mask. They're made out of a zombie. I attached the hair on it. And it is wearable for Clementine, but I'm not going to stick it over her hair, because that would just screw it up. So I had an extra head, which isn't
butchered.
Yeah. Well, Fu from Fu Review sent us this X23 head, but he sent us 2 of them, the exact same head. So I figured, well, I can use one of these for the Clementine head underneath, because once it's under here, you can't really tell. It doesn't look the same. But I'll show that later. Okay, another accessory or collectible is the rabbit's foot. Once again, I made this one. We actually have a rabbit's foot 6 scale. I think you ordered, but it's way too big.
Yeah.
So I just made my own, and it's a little more size it should be. And the horseshoe I had to completely sculpt. I found horseshoes online, little miniature ones, but they weren't the right size, so I just had to make one. Another little tiny one is she finds the geode or whatever in the cave.
I think it's a geode.
And it looks basically like yes. That wasn't too hard to make. And depending on what you do in the game, you could get a button to put on your jacket, or not get a button. But 2 of the options are a Clementine button, which is a picture of a Clementine, or stars. And you get them both from Violet. You have to do something special with her, but it depends on some choices you make, which one you get, or you get none at all. And I also made Violet's button just because I had an extra button, which I don't even know why I made that one. It just because it was easy. I actually put tiny little nails on, glued them on the back of these pins so you can actually pin them on her jacket. I guess we'll go over what's in here. In these 2 book bags. This one don't have a whole lot in it. There's nothing in these 2 pockets but foam, because they're just too hard to open. You can open them, it's just hard to get them back in. There's just a few things in here. There's a little flashlight. This isn't actually in the game, I just figured that's something she could probably have. Because the big metal flashlight wasn't hers. This little pocket knife, another thing is not in the game, but it seems like something she could believably have in her book bag.
Probably should have.
Yeah. Oh, the canteen is... This actually is in the game. This thing I made it out of some of the same material I made the quiver out of. But it's a little trapper keeper. And it has a bunch of stuff in it.
That's so cute.
But here's where some of the stuff from the other seasons are. This is from season 1 and 2. It's a picture of Lee. I don't know if she still has it in season 4. They never show her with it. She could have lost it at some point. But I put it in there. Picture of her family. I imagine this is from her house. I imagine maybe she at some point between seasons went back to her house and got it. This is a little custom baseball card I made of Javier because he's a baseball player. So it actually says his name on it and stuff. This actually isn't in the game, but I just guessed at what it could look like. And here's some of the drawings. Most of these are from season 4. This is 10's drawing. You can see Clementine and AJ down there. There's AJ's drawing. There's 2 versions of this depending on who you're going to save. So there could either be, what's his name, Lewis or Violet. And there's a drawing of that AJ did of him protecting Clem. And this one's not from this season, it's from season 1 and 2. Drawing that Clementine did when she was younger of Kenny and his family. But this is another one that was fun to make. And real easy to make the drawings, obviously, because you just gotta get the right size and print them out. Now look inside at all the junk that's in this. This is supposed to be all the supplies she steals from the gas station or whatever that place was. But there's a lot. So let's try to dump it all out. Zombie Cat said I had to redo this part. Because she was laughing at all the stuff falling out.
And yeah, he wasn't recording. When you go to record, you doing this.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's...
Look at this smorgasbord. There's still more.
It was... I made so much stuff. Is that everything? That's everything. I didn't put anything in these pockets. So this stuff was mostly... Well, I mean, it was completely unnecessary. But I just... I could have just filled this up with foam and said, hey, there's stuff in there. But it's really... I got some ideas of stuff I want to make, and I decided to fill it up with stuff.
Dude, it's stiff enough you didn't even need to put foam in it.
Yeah, I know. But I just added in stuff that she may have grabbed from that place, the first aid kit. And this is even, as ridiculous as it is to put stuff in this, I actually put stuff in this too. There's actually first aid stuff in there. Box of Band-Aids and
gauze, scissors.
a little utility pliers thing. Little, some kind of pills or something.
Is that an inhaler?
No, it's like, it's a little canister.
Oh, okay.
Thing of pills.
You dropped your gauze.
Yeah, this is, I made this out of a clear plastic case and just painted it and stuck that little symbol on there. I'll go over the things that I didn't make, which was, these I just bought from, I think, Michael's craft store. They just had these little miniatures. This is a soap. I've never seen soap like this, but...
It's kind of like old-fashioned soap wrappers.
Yeah, some cereal. What else didn't I make? This, I think, was another thing that was sent to us by our friend. Just a little bottle of water. Another bottle of water. It actually said Bratz on it, but I covered up with sludge so you didn't see that it said Bratz. The ketchup was in that little miniature set. I did weather it and paint the cap white. This came with the set. I just weathered it. This one also came with that set. Little bottle or jar of molasses. Some laundry soap came with it too. I think it's everything from that set. This bottle came from the stuff our friend sent us, but I made a custom label for it. But you have to look really close to see what it is. But it's Boomhauer from King of the Hill. I don't even know why I thought of this. But it's, I don't know if it's water or what, but it's really hard to see. But it says, man, I'll tell you what. And the name of the drink is some sort of dang old, some kind, you know, dang old survival liquid, man.
Seems appropriate.
And then over here he says, man, talking about like dang old good for your body, man. I don't even know why I made that, but whatever. I just want something else.
Such a dork.
Here's a little Twinkies box. I just thought of this because of Zombieland and the big deal about Twinkies. So I printed that out and made it.
And just so you all know, they don't keep for that long. They do go bad.
Whatever. A bag of Doritos. I printed that out. A bag of Scooby Snacks for Rosie. And some more of them Jib Jabs.
Yum. It looks like a Fritos bag.
Yeah. And this is Evilcheese Doodles. I got the Evilcheese symbol on there. And blood splatter everywhere.
That's how I like my cheese doodles.
This is a can from our friend, but I ripped off the label. So it's like a mystery can. And I weathered it. But what they don't know is this is actually dog food. Because it was an Alpo can, but I ripped all that off so you couldn't tell.
Hey man, you get hungry enough. That'll work.
And here is a can of dog food. Dinky D's from Mad Max. What is this? Well, I found up prank cans. I looked up prank cans and then I found this one, fish assholes. In tomato and cheese. I think I have 2 cans of fish assholes. And here's just some green beans, but I weathered it. Now this one actually appears in season 2 It's a can of peaches, and the one guy in the game says, "Hey," to Clementine, "that looks like you on there." And she just kind of looks at him. But I printed off the label from the game. I have 2 of them. This is just a can of whoop-ass. I found that label online. Just some, what is this? Fruit cocktail. This is another mystery can. They just took it. They don't know what the hell's in it. Some pineapple. What is that? Oh, this is another weird joke one I found. It's creamed possum. Sounds pretty nasty. Here's some Clementine Marmalade. It seemed appropriate. There's this more fruit cocktail. More green beans. And then here's one of my favorite cans that I custom made. It's Kenny's Shitbird Soup. And I was trying to think of what kind of cans I could make that would relate to the game in a weird way, and I just thought of Shitbird. But I made it full size, the label, so I decided I might as well print out a full size one too.
Yeah, I was grocery shopping, and he's like, "Can you get me a full size can of regular chicken soup from Campbell's?" He's like, "Make sure it's the normal looking one." I'm like, "Okay."
But it's Kenny's Shitbird Soup, and what else? There's directions here. Oh, recipe idea: cream of shitbird soup. So it's not really her accessory; it's just my accessory. And I have 4 of those. We're all the same. And then I made a bag of pills, medicine, that I would probably be in a supply thing, like maybe penicillin or
antibiotics,
or some aspirin in there. Which I made all those. And now here is the biggest accessory I made for her. There's another one that's not necessary, but I got the idea pretty close to the end of making this. And that's a bookcase. I even put this at. Over there. Because she has a bookcase in her room with AJ, and she sets a lot of her collectibles on it. And I figured I need a place to set collectibles. She puts collectibles all over the room, like on 2 desks. They're also in there, hanging from her bed, hanging from the light, on the walls. But I can't make all that. That's just too crazy. Even though some people probably say what I made is too crazy.
Yeah, you're a little insane. Tiny bit.
But I did have fun making this. I made it out of balsa wood and then weathered it. And
it looks really good.
Thanks. And the bottom shelf in the game is broken or just fell down like that. But you can also put it up if you want, pretty easily. If I want to put more collectibles on it. And some of these books I bought, the little ones. Well, yeah, just the little ones I bought. The big ones I made all them. Just because the ones that I bought were too small. But you know, there's some of the books down there, some up here. The only one I actually wrote anything on was this one book.
Oh, don't read.
And then I just wrote poo-poo on it. Little poo on it.
Why am I not surprised? Seems about right.
I did write some weird little messages in some of these books I bought because they actually have pages in them. Oh, there's one right there. I didn't think I'd find one so easy. Illustration of an Eggman. I don't even know why I drew that, but whatever. Oh. There's a right boob and a left boob. Well, yep, and that's about the size of it. It's just a little bit taller than she is, and that's the size I made it.
That seems like the kind of thing that troubled youth would draw in their books.
Yeah.
Left boob and right boob.
So there's all of her stuff that I made.
I can't stop laughing about how much fucking stuff you made. So much.
Some of it I just bought.
She looks like a hoarder. I mean, in the apocalypse, I guess everybody's a hoarder, but it's ridiculous.
Well, these supplies are for the group. They were all in that bag. I don't know. But yeah, that's a lot of stuff. And until when I make AJ, there'll probably be a few, not as much as this, because I made so much of it already, but like I said, I'll make the other little vegetable guys. That's assuming I could find a way to make him. I might have to end up just sculpting his head, which I don't want to have to do.
Even getting a body frame is going to be hard because he's so small.
Yeah. There are bodies that are teenagers, but they're too big. Then there's these bodies that are like babies, but they're too small. So I don't know. Maybe if I got the teenager and modify it. I actually cut about that much, well, maybe probably more like that much, off of her legs to make her shorter.
Long.
Yeah, because Clem's short, and I made it, and that body was too tall. So I could possibly do that with the teenager body and maybe make an AJ that way. But yeah, that's a lot of accessories. And these aren't even spread out. So if I would spread all these little drawings out, that'd be even more.
Yeah, but you had a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah.
I know towards the end you were starting to get anxious about wanting to be done, but I think everything turned out really good, even though it's a bit ridiculous.
Yeah.
But in the best way.
Yeah. Well, I love that game. It's one of my favorite series ever.
Yeah, it is really good.
I love Walking Dead and zombies, and this is like its own thing that made a character that you almost like watched grow up, and that was pretty cool. There's a few collectibles that I didn't make. I made almost all of them though.
Yeah.
Like I said, the couple other vegetable people, I didn't make this. She finds some chimes, I didn't make them because they hang from her light or ceiling fan or something.
I mean, even the accessories that you bought, other than the skulls, well, even the one skull, but other than that, you customized everything.
Yeah.
Like, dirtied it up and stuff.
Yeah, skulls are like the only things that I didn't customize, except for this one I cut the side off of. I'll show her without her hat, because she does have the hat off a decent amount in the game. It's kind of got hat hair, but I mean, it's the way it is. The only other thing that happens in a game is there's a part where her head's bandaged, but I didn't really care to do that. Because I'd almost need another head to do that. And then...
Yeah, because, I mean, you would mess up the hair every time you went to put it on.
Oh, I remember another thing I want to mention is there's certain things about her looks that come over from season 3 and 2 and stuff. And I just went with what I had, which was she has a scar right here. But depending on what you do, you can have a scar in a different part of her face, or also one of her fingers could be missing. But I did 2 different ways. Both ways that I did it, she had all of her fingers. I think Zombie Cat played through.
I had the missing finger.
Yeah, but if I would have did it that way, I probably would have cut her one of her fingers off.
This is a custom of your Clem, not mine.
Yeah. And I like that scar the best. The other one's okay. It's like on her cheek or something. But out of the scars, I like that one best anyway. Oh, I did make another scar, which you don't really see in season 4, but this is from season 2. She has a scar on her arm. I think you see it in season 3 also, but from the dog attack, which makes her scared of dogs. That's why she's scared of Rosie at first. And here's the hat off the head. Not that it really matters. One thing about the hat in the game is this is all, like there's no opening back here. But
you had issues with that hat though, trying to get the right one, so.
Yeah, so that's...
I think it turned out pretty damn good.
It's close enough. Boink.
Looks good.
There she is with James's mask on. And it looked pretty weird in the game, and I think it looks pretty weird here too.
Yep.
And it seemed like it fit her odd, and it fits her odd here also. I think it looks good. So there's Clementine next to the 6-scale Rick Grimes made by 3-0. So you can see she is kind of short, as she should be. Because even when she's like 17 or whatever age she is in the 4th season.
She's still kind of small.
Yeah. I think she's probably about what her height should be. And there's Clementine next to Rick and Carl Grimes. No, at this point, this is towards the end of Carl. And he's basically full-grown height at that point. So he is a little taller than Clementine, which makes sense.
I always wanted for these guys to meet up.
Yeah.
Talk about hats.
Okay, so that's our review, sort of my custom figure.
I hate it. It's garbage. Throw it in the trash.
But I try so hard. But yeah, I know I made a ridiculous amount of accessories, but...
I love that you did, though.
Yeah, it was fun making them. If it wasn't fun, I definitely wouldn't have.
And at least you made containers to put it all in.
Yeah, well, most of them.
All the jars and stuff.
I really like how the figure turned out. I think it looks like her. It's not perfect, but I think it looks pretty damn good.
Yeah, I think it looks really good. I'm impressed.
It took a ridiculous amount of work, especially for her herself.
And this is why I like making original characters instead of trying to recruit
know.
somebody. That's exactly why, because I know I would just get pissed off.
Yeah, Tank Girl, I made Tank Girl and I went crazy with that, but that one,
You have a lot of artistic freedom with her.
Yeah, she's got so many looks, has always changed, and even from panel to panel, if you read the comics, her tattoos will change and stuff like that, so
you can just pretty much do whatever you want.
Yeah. But Clementine, you gotta be way more exact. Unless you just don't care about getting it exact. But yeah, I do like how it turned out. And I do want to make an AJ. It's just gonna be hard.
Don't know how that's gonna work, yeah. Take a lot more doing.
And I also have two other ones that are partially started. Well, one is almost sort of finished. Not really, but close-ish. And that's Lee. I did make a Lee. But that's just because I could just buy most of his stuff and it's already done. I didn't have to do too much customizing, but I don't know when I'll finish him because the other customs I'm working on. And then one of the other ones I'm working on, I'm not really working on it, I bought pieces for a while back, was Season 1 Clementine that go with Lee. And I have a head that I think will work and a body. I don't have all the pieces for the outfit and everything, but
yeah.
I think I can make it if I ever get to it. But I would like to make an AJ first. And if I ever got done with all them, then I'd probably want to make a Kenny. Because Kenny would be a pretty cool one, too.
You have a lot of going on.
Yeah, I got a whole bunch of
department.
Other 6 skills that are completely unrelated to Walking Dead that I'm working on.
Of course, I shouldn't say anything because I'm starting to build quite my own collection of unfinished things.
There's a lot of reasons why we haven't been posting many videos lately. And one of them for me is just working on this. I was having so much fun. But there's been many things. I've just kind of got burned out. We still were making reviews, but the editing, it takes like all my free time to edit those videos. And after work, it's like I don't want to sit at the computer anymore. And it's I've been doing it for years. It's
yeah, because he sits at a computer all day at work, so.
Yeah. So, but it was fun doing this, and then what of the other stuff I was doing.
Plus, with everything going on and you being home all the time, we've just kind of been enjoying it and doing other stuff.
Okay. So, I guess, let me know in your comments what you think.
Did I do a good job?
Well, this is Mr. Evilcheese.
And I'm Zombie Cat.
Thanks for watching and goodbye.
Okay, AJ. I'm gonna set this one up. You're not tall enough to get him in the head. So first you gotta get him in the leg, like this. Okay, AJ, you're up. Take him out. Just like I taught you.
Phenomenal forearm! Yeah. How was that, Clem?
Well, AJ, I would have preferred to use a knife, but forearm works, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go hang out on the pegs at Target. See ya!
Such a strange little boy.
Oh, damn it, man! You see them other pictures there? Why don't you click on one of them to see the video? Or you could subscribe, Nate. Oh,